all of these really interesting looking things. Well, not all of them, but a lot of these things here on the side, like this photo gallery, this Yoast SEO photo gallery, ultimate social media plugins, which actually I have to test to see if it'll work in your environment. A lot of these things are plugins, and what plugins do is they extend the functionality of WordPress. Several of you wanted to know if you could use a regular WordPress.com website for this class, and this is part of the reason why we needed to use this. It's because here we can actually add plugins and make our WordPress do all kinds of cool things. So you can see I can do photo galleries. We're going to talk about this one in particular. There's a lot of different things in here that we can do. And if we go into the WordPress.org site, you can see, like, let's say here I was looking for a survey. We can see if SurveyMonkey has a plugin, for instance. Nope, no SurveyMonkey. But let's say I want to do a quiz. So I can take a look at all of these quizzes and see what I want to add in. Or you saw that we had galleries, let's say store. So I have all these different things, which I would probably want to do WooCommerce, but we're going to get to that. So there's all different kinds of functionality that you can add to your WordPress, and they're all made just to plug in, hence the name, into your WordPress and let you do all kinds of cool things. These are made by all kinds of different people. You can see here, this one's made by Derlick Design, Jersky. So they're all set up a little bit differently. The things that I am paying attention to when I select plugins, I want to see that they are, first off, do they have a lot of active installs? Is their review like 4 or above? Is it compatible with my WordPress? If it's not compatible with my WordPress, that means that I might have problems with it, because WordPress is built on the PHP scripting language, and if say PHP has changed, or some variable names or function names or something have changed along the way, we could get conflicts, which we'll talk about. And I also want to make sure that they are updating continuously, because you don't want to use an old site, an old plugin that does not have recent updates that the people aren't continuously maintaining. Now, most of these are free, at least to get you started. They'll have, for extended capability, they may charge you, or usually it's for service, for help, for additional references, for them to pay attention to you at all. You have to pay. And the reason for that is, the reason why it's free is because this is on the GNU licensing, which is free, it's open source. So anything that is developed with that core has to be free. So they can only actually charge on to the additives, the things that go beyond. So anyway, let's go back to our site. Oh, so you may ask, well, why, since these things can have all this functionality, why don't I just go and install willy-nilly, make us have all kinds of availability, let the students do whatever they want? Well, because plugins, as awesome as they are, they open up the door for all kinds of errors. So I generally will try to keep my plugin use and my installed plugins to a minimum, because otherwise you're going to end up with things that say this. You'll try to open up your website, and instead of getting a website or even being able to get to your administration page, you'll get a fatal error, and then you have to actually log in to the back side behind, not even the WordPress dashboard, but behind that, manually pull out the plugin. So it gets pretty messy. So really you only want to use a very minimum number of plugins, and you only want to make sure that you use really good ones, because otherwise they are a major headache. So let's go back here, and I want to talk about how you actually use the plugins. So remember I said that they're all developed by all different kinds of people. You can see here, developed by who they're developed by. This is what I see on the back end. You don't get to see this. This is, sorry. If you actually, we're going to talk later on in the course about how you can host your own WordPress somewhere else. So that's why I bother to show you these things at all, because someday you may want to actually run the back end of your website. So anyway, I have my plugins here, and I can network activate certain things. I have some that are not activated and some that are. You may see some stuff like this, but most of your plugins are going to be available over here on the side. So the plugin that I want to talk about is this photo gallery. Yes, this one. And I'm just using this as an example. Again, they're all made by separate people, and so they all may be set up a little bit separately. May not see all of these options on different people's plugins. And where you get more information is you're going to go into your plugin link, and you can actually see this because this is my demo page, so it's set up exactly like yours. And you can go in here and you can see the support. You can also view details, and this will tell you, and hopefully if you kind of click around on it, you'll be able to find the instructions for your plugin. But I want to go ahead and do this photo gallery one. So I would go in here and I could see photo gallery. WebDorado is actually really good. They're a very good plugin developer. The ones that have good developers are kind of, they come naturally. You don't have to really beat around the bush to figure out what they're doing. So in here, it's already installed. I could go in here in the facts. There's probably instructions in here somewhere. If they're not here, I could find them probably over here somewhere. But let's go ahead and use this one. So I got my plugins, going to the photo gallery. So I could go in here and I'm going to kind of follow things along from top to bottom. Add a gallery is what I want to do. Did I not click on that? Okay, so I would just go in here, add a gallery. And I can call it whatever I want. The slug is just a thing that goes at the end of the URL for that access. So I can call this Lake in Mexico, which is the one that I call the other one. It will complain at me since I use this already, so I'm not actually going to use it. So I'm just going to have standard gallery. Boy, my typing is bad today. Don't remember the name. Guadalajara. I'm missing some letters. It would have been so much easier if I typed it right the first time. Okay, then I would go in here and I can add images. You can see these are all sideways. The problem with that is that my they don't have, for some reason this is not reading the EXIF codes, EXIF. It's a metadata that tells us which way a picture is supposed to be rotated. So, what I would probably want to do if I was going to worry about this is I would go in and maybe edit this and see if I have a rotation option. I don't want to deal with that right now, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. Actually, we can add the selected images. So they're all down here. I can go in and put in alt titles, Lake, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to use my time to do this, but I'm going to go select all of these pictures. And then I would hit apply. I'm not going to worry about that, but I've already done this. So I'm not going to do it again because I will screw up the system. So I have Lake in Mexico, and you may be wondering, so great, I've created the gallery. So how do I get it on the pages? If I go to my pages, sometimes if I go to pages, some plugins have the option of, if I go to a gallery or I make a page, I added this one just recently. They might have a link up here because the plugin added something in here that said add gallery or something like that. But that is not how this one works. This one is relying on short codes. So where do these short codes come from? That's just a little code there that I had to generate, and I actually got that right here. It's in there, generate short code. Sometimes the short code will be generated automatically. Like when I hit save on the gallery, it could have popped up a short code for me, but this has a short code as a separate entity. Again, like I said, I can't tell you exactly how every plugin is going to work because they're all made by various people, so they work differently. So you just have to kind of know your options. That sometimes it'll put on the page, sometimes you have to get a short code. Hard to say sometimes. So you can go in here and you can pick how you want things to be displayed on this one. I can select my gallery, which is Lake in Mexico. I'm not going to change any of these things. Now I just say generate. There's my short code. Take this. I copied it. I'm going to go back to my pages. And I just went ahead and I just pasted that right in there. That short code right there on the page. If I preview, there it is. My sideways pictures that I need to edit. The nice thing about this particular gallery is that it actually goes in and creates the thumbnails. So if I had used a different layout, I would have thumbnails available. There's all kinds of different things. So this week's assignment, what I want you to do is to go in and start playing with your photo gallery. I need to check these social media plugins. They may or may not be working. I'll add some other plugins in here for you to play with. If you have a suggestion of a plugin that you want, like a survey or something like that, let me know and I will go ahead and install it for you. But the big one that I want you to play with really this week is probably this photo gallery, and I'll throw some other things out there for you too.